Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are back here yet again here on Mount Schmoedown. I am one of your hosts, Brandon Buckingham. Below me, we got my boy Ryan Payne. To my left or to your right, depending on how you're looking at, Ben Rayner. Fellas, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm just excited to talk about this man down here. Eric Z-Man Zipper, or unless you're Mike Hal Lanowski, Zippity Doo Dah.
Oh my god!
Eric Zipper is definitely a underappreciated. Just nobody talks about Eric Zipper. I get it though. Like just looking at it, if you just look at his record, he's really not that good. Singles and teams, he's 3-4. So teams he's 3-4 with 1 TKO. Singles he's 2-2 with 1 TKO. Now he also won a match in sudden death. So if you just look at the record right there, you're like, is he really that special?
Yeah.
You go more deep dive, he does really well in the first round. He does really, really well in the first round. I really am surprised when I was looking over those stats. I'm like, wow. Like his top ones that he does is horror thriller, action adventure, and animated. He's had 12 in each one of those. In animated, he has 10 of 12. Horror thriller, he's perfect. He's 12 of 12. 12 of 12 in horror thriller. When you think horror thriller in the movie Trivia Schmoedown, does Eric Zipper come to mind, guys?
No. He's kind of like when it comes with the tier level of players, he's somewhere like B tier or like not even top A tier. Honestly, you think he's somewhere within the bag, and I think with some people when it comes to Zipper, they mainly judge off his performance and how he's carrying himself because we have seen most recently from season 6 to today, he does, unfortunately, he gets in his head most of the time, and he does beat himself up pretty hard. And it's nothing against him. I mean, like everyone else, when they have that amount of pressure that's on them, they do want to put forth a good effort. They want to show that they are capable of being a great trivia player or worthy to play the Schmoedown. Because if we look back at season 5, he had a lot of matches during his early rookie year compared to the following years. He had like 5 teams matches, and then he had 2 Intergeekdom matches around that time. Both attributing to a mildly good record. I mean, he went 3-1 with teams. 2-2 because the 2 wins with World's Finest, the loss against the Shire Wolves, and then the loss in Anarchy. And then also, if you're looking at the Intergeekdom, his win against Mike Carlson and then his loss against Cushing. Honestly, that's a very even record for someone in their rookie season. Much better than most rookies nowadays, to where they can go maybe 0-2, like maybe somewhere like depending on overall, if they're playing in 2 separate divisions, you'd see them maybe go like 1-3 or 2-4, depending on how many matches they get. But looking at Zipper, how he evened his record out by going 3-3 that year by playing 6 matches. He showed so much potential, so much passion to play, and he was always a joy to watch with him and Winston. How the banter those two had back and forth was incredible.
Yeah. You can definitely tell that they were just good friends that came together to answer some questions about movie trivia. Those first 2 matches now, were they the most difficult ones? Kingsman, probably not. Team Trek at that time was actually one of the top tier teams in the league, and they defeated them.
I can see that was their most challenging match of their teams before they fought the Shire Wolves. But yeah, Ben, what were you gonna say?
I was just agreeing with you. They were underrated. They were always fun to watch. I love the dynamic between Winston and Zipper. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I kind of wish they stayed together a little more to really build out that team.
True. I would have agreed too that they could have stayed together, and the fact that their record kind of indicated they were at least within the top 10 teams starting season 6. The fact that they only suffered 1 TKO loss, I mean, for World's Finest, yeah, they were 2-1 with a TKO loss. They looked very good going into season 6. I guess because if you look, because here's the funny thing with the storyline with Zipper and that storyline, it was not shy this season how he wanted to go after Mike Kalinowski. And we track it all the way back to season 5 with the start of that Inner Geekdom tournament. Mike Kalinowski giving him the Zippity Doo-Dah nickname, having him go against Rachel Cushing, to where, be honest, that was it's not a rough match for Zipper, but it was pretty much Zipper going up against someone like Cushing, who was battle tested. She had been waiting so long for an Inner Geekdom style tournament. He's against Cushing, he is 0-2, of course, because during that year, season 6, Rachel was on fire. You could not have stopped her if you wanted to. But still, Zipper, I think, put up a good effort, despite the fact that he had a 10-point deficit going into round 3 of that match in the collision. And even then, he always shows, with, like you said, with horror going perfect in that category. There's those secret strengths of Zipper that will just shock you or surprise you. Because looking back at his IG matches, despite the fact he's a comic book guy, he has been very unlucky when it comes to getting questions in IG when it comes with Marvel or DC. But when he does something somewhere along the lines of a mixed bag, he happens to have a better accuracy compared to doing. And also, he's a very strong in MCU, without a doubt. MCU and mixed bag are like the two strengths I've seen from rewatches that he's able to get score high within the 90 percentile. Everything else, he is always it's give or take with him.
Yeah. So we'll kind of go round by round here. So Zipper, through all of his singles and teams matches, this is just the singles and teams, he's had 96 questions asked to him. 70, he's hit 74. There's a 77% accuracy rate. It's not that bad in a round 1. His average points scored in a teams match is 11 points for his team. And then in his 4 singles matches, he's averaging 6.25 points a match. So again, he's middle ground. Like there are certain matches he gets a question he just doesn't know. There was one match where he's on pace to actually get a perfect round, but he misses the final question.
I think that could have been, no, it wasn't Who's the Boss. The closest I've seen was maybe his match against.
It was Loose Cannons versus the Looney Bin.
Yes, this can. Okay, yeah, it's been that.
It was a coming of age question that he missed. So ended up not getting that one. But still, he's been, if you include Inner Geekdom, singles and teams, he's been in 17 matches in 3 seasons, because he premiered in season 5. That's a lot. That. And like you said, season 5, he was busy. He was extremely busy. He competed in all 3 divisions. Wait, no. Sorry.
No, just 2.
Just 2. He did not premiere in singles till season 6. And his match was against a former teammate, Haley Fouch, where he wins in sudden death. And when he wins sudden death, he goes second to answer the question. Haley gets it wrong. He says it, and he's and he gets so excited.
Oh, he's so pumped. He was so
excited.
And that was and even that match, you saw the jubilation on his face. It was a big turnaround, because in season 6, we all saw. Because in season 6, Corruption versus World's Finest, they lose in the World Finest. Then he goes against Adam Halavic in a geek match. He unfortunately loses, of course, by not getting at least all his 5-pointer. And then, of course, him teaming up with Kaiser, and then Kaiser, and the union between these two that led him to be joining with Paul Yama. But then that singles match, you saw a more focused Zipper. You saw a Zipper that was really dialed into the game. So when that happened, that was a huge turnaround for him. And then, of course, Loose Cannons match against Looney Bin. When the Looney Bin, my God, that almost looked like it was going to be, because we briefly touched on it with video when we covered Video Drew. But seeing that the Looney Bin were ahead in that final round, and that the Loose Cannons, all they had to do was just keep fighting back in order to take, and they end up ultimately winning there. That could have been season 6 could have been a very rough year for Zipper, though. I mean, luckily he came out looking good with only 2 wins in singles and teams, and then the other matches he had 3 losses. So a 2-5 record. 2-3 record out of 5 matches. No, 2-5. Well, sorry, hold on. 2-3. I'm sorry. Statistics, unfortunately, with matches is not my strong suit, but ultimately going over with the matches he's played in, with the 2 wins he has, many people, especially with the draft coming up, Zipper looked like he was going to not be one of the top picks, or at least someone picked during the draft round. But the fact that Kaiser wanted to stick with him shows that Kaiser sees something in Zip that not many people are really looking at.
I think Zipper and Kaiser are a great match together because if you look, Zipper has improved dramatically since Kaiser picked him up there in season 6 and paired him with Paul. Like, I feel like just with that faction, because they were a faction before factions were a thing. They had the dungeon there in season 6 with Smets, Kaiser, Zipper, and Paul. Like, and Smets has a way of setting where it helps him retain information, and he probably teaches the same thing to his faction mates. And it's clear and evident that Zipper, once he joined Kaiser in the dungeon, has become a lot better player.
Yeah.
I just had a thought. I'm sorry. Can you imagine if in season 6, Smets and Zipper were on a team together? I think that would have been really interesting.
To be honest, I have a feeling that's what the team was, or what Kaiser was planning on for season 8 is to have Smets and Kaiser. Smets and Kaiser. Yeah, no, Kaiser's not competing. No,
he'll only do exhibitions.
Smets and Zipper would have been a team, and that would have been a really good team. That would have been a really good team because of the fact that next season they can put inner geekdom slices like MCU on the wheel. Yeah. That helps out with a lot of these inner geekdom competitors that want to cross over to different, like the singles and teams. All they have to do is have a average round 1. And round 1 questions, they aren't that difficult. If you just study just a little bit on each one, you'll be set there. Again, you don't have to go perfect 8 for 8, but if you can get 5, 6, and you get an inner geekdom slice there in round 2, really sets you up there for a good round 3. Especially if you go against someone that maybe like the other teams or in singles, they're not as strong in those inner geekdoms. Maybe they land on that and you get some steals from that too. So it's going to be interesting to see how next season goes there with those inner geekdom slices in singles.
I definitely do agree. And Zipper's match against Irwin definitely kind of shows what something like inner geekdom on the wheel, even if he doesn't get it, giving it to someone else like Irwin, who's not as strong in inner geekdom, can still tip the balance in a match. Because as we saw, Irwin, he definitely looked like he was going to be dominant throughout that match. But the moment he got opponent's choice and Zipper gave him inner geekdom, we saw a little bit there that the moment that Zipper was like, he felt like when Zipper was going into round 3, he felt confident because there was the possibility he could have done another upset in that singles tournament and beat Irwin, but Irwin came out on top. So I mean, just looking at Zipper's match, and then also there's been other matches where inner geekdom has played has heavily affected the outcome in the singles tournament.
So take that Ethan Irwin match there for Zipper. Zipper almost beats Ethan Irwin. Like, they are tied. Hold on, I have it up here. Yes, they are tied after round 2, 12-12.
Yeah.
But Irwin ends up winning 22-17. Zipper went 4 of 8 there in round 1 in that match. He has a better round 1. He sets himself up really, really well there. And I thought it was funny. It was at this point here in the season that Zipper didn't choose his numbers for round 3. He does not trust himself because he's always like, I always pick the wrong numbers. So starting with in the Inner Geekdom tournament, he had Kaiser pick his numbers because he's just like, whatever I pick does not work out for me.
Yeah, that's I mean, and that's a good self-awareness for Zipper. The fact that he's aware that he doesn't have the great luck when he goes into round 3, and even that, I mean, even when you look back in his earlier season season 5, and even his match against Halabic, he didn't have the best luck with questions either. Because if I remember against Cushing, he got a majority of Middle Earth questions in round 3. Yeah, he got Hobby and Middle Earth for his 3 and his 5-pointer. And then against Halabic, he ended up getting Lord of the Rings as a 3-pointer, which cost him dearly. And as I said in the past, even though he's great with comic book movies, he has not proven well against them. If he's not proven very knowledgeable, it's kind of hurt him. Like DC has been pretty much the one IG slice that has unfortunately crippled him because he goes hit and miss, especially in round 1. And it's definitely in his round 3. But you give him something like, if he always gets MCU questions, he's always gonna knock that out of the park.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. So just taking a look at his Inner Geekdom stats here. Now, I have not been able to add it to my stat sheet for his 2 in the Inner Geekdom tournament, so these are not completely accurate. But in terms of round 1, Star Trek, he's perfect. MCU, and Heroes and Villains. So he's done 3 of 3 in Star Trek, 3 and 3 in MCU.
And he has stolen some points from Star Trek, though. So it's like he does do a good job, like in his match against Carlson. And no, he got Trek against Cushing, and he didn't do good in that one. So.
Yeah, no, he went 2 of 4 there. So that was not very good for him there. But against Mike Carlson, he went perfect.
Nice.
Now, it wasn't possible points earned because he did check down twice there.
Yes, he did.
So he didn't.
But he swept that. But he swept it. He swept it.
Mm-hmm. So he did sweep it. So yeah. So so this is 1 and 2. So I believe he's 2 and 3 now in Geekdom.
Yes.
Again, if you just look at his record wise, you're like, well, he's not that good, but you got to go more. You got to go beyond the surface. You got to go deep down, and just take a better, closer look at just how he does. Like he is. I think he is underrated, underappreciated. I think one of my favorite promos he's ever done. At the time, I was like, yeah, no, that's not true. Basically called himself the next Dan Murrell.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat crow on
I'm not going to laugh at that, but I'm like, that was a big claim for him to make. And the confidence he put himself in, I mean, like, that's a good goal for him to set for himself. Claiming to be the next Dan Murrell, because then people are going to constantly underestimate him in matches. And when you underestimate him, that's going to be your downfall.
Yeah, like at the time I saw that promo, I'm like, yeah, really, Zipper? You're the next Dan Murrell? Now that I did a more deep dive on his matches and seen some matches since then, it's not as outrageous. It's still a little bit outrageous because comparing yourself to the GOAT, Dan Murrell, that's some high expectations, but you got to shoot for the best, right? Like so props there to Zipper because the thing is, I could see him getting there. Like I could see Zipper having that sort of talent. Like I think if he just studies a little bit more, works a little bit better on gameplay, I think he has a shot to be one of the top tier players in the Schmoedown, and someone that we end up talking about maybe once he retires. Does he actually belong on the face of Mount Schmoedown?
So you're saying with hard work, you're saying you can see him beat Dan Murrell one day?
Yes, I do.
I think, yeah, he's constantly working to get himself there. There's some people I know who have had conversations with Zipper, and I've seen a few after shows with Zipper talks with him. He's a very relaxed guy, but at the same time, when it comes to the Schmoedown, he never wants to be content with where he's at. He's always looking to get better. He's always looking to improve. I mean, it's why it didn't surprise me when he threw himself in the Inner Geekdom tournament. He was gunning for those finals, and he got his TKO victory against Emily Rose. And despite the performance that happened there, I still think that was Zipper once again dialing himself into the game, dialing himself into being the best to where he had that dominant lead. And then you see it against Mike Count, and then of course he finally gets that shot against Mike in Inner Geekdom. Round 2 happens. Unfortunately, it didn't go his way, and then it led to him missing his 3 and 5 pointer, I believe, in round 3, to where Mike gets the victory against him. And this was at a time where Mike was teetering on the lines of being smug, but also trying to get points for his faction.
It just goes to show you how important that second round is. Because I think if you nail the second round, you could possibly still win missing your 3-pointer.
So in that match in round 2, he gets Middle Earth. And the thing with Middle Earth is in the early seasons, The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings were separate categories. And then they later combined them. So in terms of trying to compile the stats, it's a little different. But in that match, though, he ends up going 4 or 5, but he checks down twice. He gets it once. And then there's another multiple choice. Mike, luckily for Zipper, does not get it. So after round 1, it is 8-9 Mike. So he's just missing out there. Zipper in that match in round 1 missed a Middle Earth and DCEU question. Round 2, he gets Middle Earth. After round 2, the score is 15-19. So again, he's right there. In that match, in round 3, he picks numbers 3, 6, and 9. Yeah. Which is funny because in that match, Mike picks even numbers, and then Zipper's like, let me go ahead and choose odd numbers. And then Shannon calls him out. 6 is
not an odd number.
Well, the thing is, she doesn't finish it. She doesn't have to because everyone knows, 6 is not an odd number. It's an even number. So yeah. And so his 2-pointer is Star Trek. 3-pointer is villains, and his 5-pointer is Who Said It. That's what gets him.
That's been a category that has not shown its face in Schmoedown for a while. I remember early seasons, that was a prominent category. That was a prominent slice for people to study down. But because IG started getting more broad, it started getting more movies added to it. Who Said It slowly was dwindling back down to maybe it would pop up into a round 1. Not many people have seen it pop in round 3. So when that Who Said It question came up there and the look on Zipper's face, even though he was trying to work out an answer, there was a defeated. Unfortunately, you can see he was defeated there, and also very upset with himself because he wanted to finally beat Mike Kalinowski. In his own words, he wanted to shut him up, but unfortunately,
I think
it didn't happen.
Yeah, that's his white whale. Mike is his white whale because he got played so bad by Mike, teasing him that maybe come ahead and join corruption. Maybe you could even lead corruption. Nope. It was all just a ploy, and I think Zipper still has it out for Mike. So hopefully next season we get another match with Zipper and Mike there. I would really like to see it in singles. Them go mano in singles would be really awesome to watch.
I think Zipper would definitely have an edge in singles. Oh, go ahead, man.
I could see it happening only because Mike right now needs to elevate back to the top. They're basically on the same level right now, I feel. And I feel like, as of now, Zipper on his best game, I feel like he could take Mike right now. How long that will last, I don't know. But as of right now,
Yeah.
I see Zipper beating Mike.
I mean, as I said,
Brian, it is. Who said it is because most of the time it's a round 3 question. And we all know those round 3 questions are a round 3 2-pointer. Most of the time is harder than a round 2 2-pointer in the early seasons. And like season 5, they kind of weren't. They were actually sometimes easier. But I feel like in the last 2 seasons here, 6 and 7, those round 3 2-pointers are definitely a lot more difficult.
Actually, I would have to say, and this might be a bit of a hot take, but from looking at the singles tournament and the IG tournament, despite the number of players that were in each, the round 3 questions in IG were definitely a little more like tougher compared to the singles tournament. That's just my hot take. Go ahead.
Something has always been curious to me. What's the difference between who said it and a quote?
They're pretty much the same thing.
It's the same thing. It's
just who said it it's meant to be a little more like, I don't know, kind of more quippy in a way, because comic book movies, they've always been quotes. If you just go with geek quotes, it doesn't work. But you're saying who said it, it's kind of a way to where the questions, because I think the difference with who said it and maybe quotes can be how the question is written. Because let's say with quotes, a category comes up. Let's say with the line, he's a silent guardian, a watchful protector, a dark knight, is from which DC movie?
That's a quote.
But then you rephrase it to go, which DC character said the line, he's a silent guardian, a watchful protector, a dark knight?
I think what it is in Inner Geekdom, it's who said it. In singles and teams, it's quotes.
Okay.
That's what the difference is.
Okay.
I don't believe they're both in the same divisions.
No, they make sure that they're separate because of the number of movies in singles and teams. Having something like quotes keeps it very broad to where all you have to do is just pay attention to the quote itself to narrow it down. With IG, it's one of those situations where they're narrowing it down once again. They're whittling it down, so it's literally forcing you to remember which character said what.
Gotcha.
Exactly. Yeah. So that we could, movie quotes and who said it are some of the. It's like movie taglines. You just hope you don't get those ones because most of the time, no one pays attention to the taglines because it's on the poster, and a lot of people don't look at the entire poster.
And even now and then, when trailers do something like that, people think what pops there is taglines, but then it contradicts itself with the poster. So it's always a huge. It's a minefield. The trailers, they want to give you a tagline that's cool and catchy, but then on the poster, it's something generic that's just there. It's not to take attention from, but it's just there to just almost not sum up the movie, but just something that's supposed to be catchy and fun to get you to watch it.
Exactly there. So we already sort of discussed how Zipper does in round 1. Round 2, he's had 66 questions asked, 51 he's hit. So it's 77%. Again, not terrible, but
still good. It's a good accuracy, honestly.
It's a good accuracy. The thing is, he's only had one wheel slice twice, and it's comic book movies. He's 9 of 12.
He's been very unfortunate in that one.
So he's had Pixar, rom-com, James Bond, Clint Eastwood, famous actors and actresses, coming of age, new releases.
Wait, didn't he spin away from James Bond? Oh no, I'm thinking of Finest versus Shire Wolves. Sorry.
Yeah. So famous actors and actresses, coming of age, new releases, 2010, action adventure, and directors. Again, the worst one you could say, like he's had several where he's gone 4-6. So there was the Who's the Boss match, which was he was actually the team. It was the Crazy 88s with him.
Crazy 80 Greats.
No, Crazy 80 Greats, whatever.
Yeah.
They had one match there during Anarchy. I think that was the first match for who's the boss as well. So It was really funny to watch because Bateman was still kind of his heel team action Bateman, and Riley kept having to say sorry because he was being such a douche.
Yeah, it was also when Gucci was still the asshole. You know, he was still a bit of he was still a douche as well. Because I remember after that, because after rewatching after the match, it was still like team action was still a thing, and then and of course it was still the Five Horsemen, which was originally Riley, Inman, Merle, Nost, and Roca. Yeah. So you clearly had a clash there, and I think one of my favorite takeaways from that match was their 5-pointer, which was comic book movies again, and the question was just name one of the 2 movies that Danny Houston was in, other than like. And it was just kind of like they could have shot. I mean, other than Wonder Woman, named one of the 2 comic movies he was in. They were looking for one. They had both down, but everyone thought it was going to be Origins. But then Haley just goes 30 Days of Night, and then I just loved where she just gets a flip on and just goes, "Fuck your system." And that was like a big comeback for them too, because they were behind. They got all of their 3-pointers. I mean, and which led to Who's a Boss. All they had to do was get 4 points or the 3 points to beat them. But then Riley misses his 2-pointer, which leads to Bateman getting the 3 for the win.
So that Who's the Boss match, that was his 6th match overall in the Schmoedown. So he Zipper had been in it for a while. Score after round 1 is 10-15. Yeah. Zipper goes 5 of 8 in round 1, so they both get 5 points each. Gave comic book movies
7 points total.
Yeah, so they end up with 17. An interesting thing about Zipper, every single match he's had to check down at least once. He's not done any round 2s where he's either gotten them all right at the full 2-point or missed it. So I think that shows that he knows how to play the game part. He's like, okay, I don't know the answer or I'm not sure. It's better to get a steal at 1 than it is 2 because 2 is a major swing. Like a 2-point steal, if you miss, is a huge. It's a 4-point swing. So Zipper definitely knows how to play the game. He's like, okay,
he's very good at getting steals. He is very good at getting steals. Because in Kingsman, the World's Finest, they steal 2 points. Against Trek, they steal 2 points. They were able to steal a point off the Shire Wolves from an Oscar question, which was amazing. Like what was Sigourney Weaver's first nomination in the Academy Awards? It was Aliens, and it was amazing. And then of course, and then leading into his IG matches, he has stolen points from Carlson and Halabic. So, and I know he's stolen points later on in the season. I just unfortunately didn't get enough time to write those down. I was mainly watching them. But Eric Zipper, careful in round 2, he can get steals off of you. So, which is why you should never really underestimate him when we're talking about when you're talking about him as a player in round 2.
Yeah. Zipper is, like we said, his accuracy in round 2 is not that bad. A lot of them, though, are multiple choice. So it's is he really at that percentage? Like a lot of people feel like even if you check down and you go perfect, it's not really perfect because you're getting some assistance there. I just thought it was interesting that Zipper in every single one of his match, IG teams and singles, he's checked down at least once in every single round 2.
Interesting.
So, moving on to how he does in round 3 in teams and singles. He has picked almost the only number he hasn't picked, 11. He's picked every other number at least once. He's picked 3 4 times, 7 and 8 3 times, 10 3 times, 15 and 19 4 times.
Yep.
So he definitely has certain numbers that he definitely goes to. And like he said, he's been having Kaiser pick his numbers because he just doesn't trust himself. He's like, I don't know.
I mean, if you look at his record, I mean, yeah, he's like, I have not had the best luck. I am my own worst enemy. So it does make sense in his mind. He'd rather have someone else pick the numbers for him. That way, He's not really trying to like hurt himself. It's just he just doesn't feel confident.
Exactly there. And in terms of his accuracy, round 3, he's not very good. His 2-pointers, he's 6 of 10. 3-pointers, 5 of 9, and 5-pointers, 4 of 9. So that gives him a 15 out of 28, 54% accuracy. The thing is, I think there's a lot of competitors that don't do very well in round 3. Like their percentage, like first of all, this would take forever. Go through every match and basically find out what the overall round 3 percentages in terms of accuracy. That would take a very long time, but it would be interesting to see. And I can almost guarantee that like Zipper, everyone else, each point value, their accuracy decreases as Zipper goes from 60% to 55% to 44%. It's probably a good guarantee that there's a lot of competitors that way. Now there's competitors like Merle, Roca, Bateman. They've had a lot of matches, so they're gonna have a lot more. So the more they have, the more misses they have. It's just the way that percentages work. So Zipper is someone everyone you need to watch out for. Depending on how free agency goes, I could see Kaiser choosing him as one of his 3.
Yeah.
Especially when Smith's not playing next year. He's going to need.
Has he officially said Smets? Has he officially said he's not playing?
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of obvious.
We all know the news, but it's still up there in the air.
Who go through treatment 6 months, and they're back to normal. So
I thought he said 9 months. I thought he had taken 9 months to.
So I wonder if this will be funny. In terms of a sports reference, Kaiser keeps Smets, but he puts him on injured reserve. Yeah. So no one else picks him up.
I know.
No one else can pick him up, but he's just sitting there so that when Smets is healthy, he's still with the dungeon.
Probably does a surprise by like if a free for all happens next year and he has Smets on the injured reserve. Smets can be more like the surprise return in the free for all, just like JTE at the third free for all.
Like it would be interesting. Kaiser has Smets. It's not one of the 10 spots for the faction because he's not an active player. Nope. But what if Smets, like Ben said, 9 months? So let's say this time next year. So September, October, Smets is up to competing again.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know how that's going to work.
I mean, Smets has been one hell of a coach with some of the players at.
Maybe Kaiser takes Smets on as an advisor. I can see that.
I think he already is. I think he has been all season.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. I definitely see where you're going with this, Ben, but it's been pretty obvious to me when Smets was still the champion, he was advising a lot of people.
Okay. But maybe Kaiser just makes it official. I know.
Well, it's all going to depend on this draft coming up. It's really going to depend on that.
Yeah, so I think the season ends. I think Spectacular it's December 14th.
Don't know the exact date. Do not know the exact date for it. I mean, it could be the 14th.
Schedule is the 12th, December 12th. And then we have free agency there. Mm-hmm. And then the draft will probably be mid to late January.
Yeah, it's most likely going to be at the same time as the Schmoedown Awards, but just like last year. It's definitely going to be a quicker event now. Since Christian's keeping it like tell me your 3, and then afterwards you can decide who's going to be your 4th, your 5th, your 6th pick.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong. They don't have to keep their 3. So say they only choose 1 or 2. Yeah. Like they can go after any 3, right? And it's up to that competitor to say yes, I'll go with you.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Is that true?
I'm not 100% sure on that.
They have not really given out the specifics yet. I mean, Christian threw out the 3, but it's all about how a manager is going to choose how they want to make their picks. Because if a manager has a vision that they want to do, because let's be honest, because this draft, anything's up for grabs. Literally anything is up for grabs. And it's obvious there's going to be players changing factions, hands down. There's
Bateman. Oh, that would be a great Zipper and Bateman. I would love. I just can't see Bateman with Kaiser. I can.
Well, that is if Kaiser does keep Zip.
It's true. As Brian here says, Zip, Vinny, and Smets, and then if not, Witt. I think that's probably a pretty good assumption.
Because Witt has also proven to be a great coach. I mean, he coached Vinny really good in his debut.
Adam
match.
Kaiser.
Adam Kaiser was great.
that was pretty cool to see.
But also, let's be honest with Zip. Despite his round 2 and 3 performances, as we touched, he's up and down. Like this most recent teams match that just happened with the Misfits and the Witching Power. We saw Zip. There were questions he knew. It's unfortunately was just in the heat of the moment. He just was unable to pull out, and it was just kind of like an unfortunate downfall there. I thought Zip and Witt would have been a great team. I still think they could be a good team. Like not everybody gels immediately after their first match. Everyone has some rough goings, but then they pick up. Then they can pick back up from where they left off. So if his prediction does come true that if Smets really can't play and Vinny and Kaiser does pick Witt, I see Zip and Witt once again as a team and going into the next season.
I'll tell you the unfortunate thing about this last match and it being their debut. The unfortunate thing is it came out towards the end of the season, right when everyone's getting ready to pick their lineup for next season.
I think there's some that haven't even started.
No, there were a lot.
A lot can change in that team's tournament. There's some factions where their 3 is going to be extremely hard. Winston's going to have the most difficult time.
I think Winston, Coy, and Shannon are going to have the most difficult time.
Oh yeah. Those 3 are the top 4 teams in the standings.
I think this. Tom will have the hardest time keeping people.
Yeah.
Not my gut. I see the exchange looking very different next season.
I don't think he keeps this top 4 at all. Like we know Bateman's gone.
Yeah, Bateman's done. He's openly said it on backstage. He's completely let loose all his frustration after that Merle match. He's not going back to Dagnino. I mean, unless it doesn't matter. I mean, because I don't think Christian has even brought the idea of protected teams. So with Riley, if by chance Bateman does Merle does, my God, Finstock. If Finstock does keep Riley, it's still not going to say that who's the boss is going to remain a team. If Ben really wants to continue playing with Riley, then that's how it's going to be. But if Bateman is truly done, he's a free man on his own. He can work with any faction of his choice.
How about the Barbarian? Is he him leaving?
I mean, he and Gucci have had a good gel with each other in matches, but Barbarian, he's always going. I mean, if Gucci decides to keep Barbarian, I can see Barbarian and Riley as a team. But it's all about who the hell's gonna be sticking around.
Yeah, that probably 4 to 6 weeks after Spectacular is gonna be really interesting to watch on to see who keeps who.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's gonna be stuff like that gets announced, or do we have to wait to find out till Christian says it's. This is the first time they're doing this, and I don't think the rules have been really released yet. So it's going to be interesting there to watch.
That's also a good thing Brian brought up. Kate, she's also going to have a hard time because despite the way the den has been going, they also had like a good a semblance of players. I mean, you're looking at Goddard and Silverstream as the pride. I mean, depending on how Tom and Paul are going to be.
Goddard, White, Preston, Silvestrini, Sullivan.
Yeah, and Sullivan, yeah. That sounds like a good she's unfortunately had the most. She's been very unlucky this season, not being able to get all of her players to at least get more than one match to play. Outside of Tom, Silvestrini, and Goddard, and of course James White. Like that's definitely going to be a tough pick. I think for me, if she's gonna, I think this team's tournament is going to determine if she's going to keep either Tom or Preston. If not, I see her keeping the pride, and then possibly Saul, just for the for new blood.
Okay. Last question. Zipper and Goddard on a team. Would that work?
I feel like they're the same kind of player. They have the same strengths. Really, the best teams are the ones where they fill in their teammates' their weaknesses. That's why the Shire Wolves are one of the best teams ever in the Schmoedown, because they had different strengths, so it was really hard to trip them up. Like, say one of them knew it and one didn't. Like the other person knew it.
Because if you
again,
look at
I wouldn't.
It's
really hard to say one team doesn't work because we haven't seen it. Could it happen? Yes, I would love to see it, just to see the dynamic between the two. Like that's the only way that a team works is the dynamic. And us as fans of the Schmoedown, we don't see how they kind of react with each other when they're not in matches, like when they're studying, when they have team meetups. We don't know how that dynamic works.
Fair point. Good point.
Yeah, and we can never judge off of one match how well a team's going to be in the future, because anything could happen. I mean, looking back, I mean, even with Zip, despite I thought he and Fouch would have been a very great team off of their performance. They stumbled, of course, in the second round, but that comeback, I would have thought those two could have continued playing. But then, of course, he remained the world's finest. They came very close to being corruption, and then that led to a breakup. Like Zipper, it's I guess if I had to sum Zipper's career, he's on that cusp. He's so close. It's the line, close but no cigar with him, unfortunately. And Zipper, his personality too. I think Zipper, he has a great personality. The problem is that it's trying to determine where it fits into the Schmoedown. He's good with one-liners, honestly. Most of his team's matches, he comes up with a great burn that that stays memorable. Like in the Looney Bin match, he made that line, "Oh, I was a theater major, and I would have bullied them too." And then, of course, when it was them against Shire Wolves, he made that jab at Ethan Irwin. If I was a producer, I'd know shit too. Like Zipper has the quality to come up with great jabs and great jokes, but when he's doing the interviews, he shows he lets his personality shine. When he plays, he is dead serious. He doesn't waste time quipping a lot. He wants to focus and get the points.
He's there to win.
Right.
That's all it is. So he knows when to have a fun time. He also knows when it's time to get down to business there. But he had his most recent match just dropped just 2 days ago. It was the play-in match, the 2020 Teams Ultimate Schmoedown Tournament. Him and Adam Witt, the Misfits versus the Witching Power. Round one, Zipper went perfect. Wait. Nope, sorry.
No,
he missed a dramas question. That is my bad.
Yeah, he came very close to being perfect. And that question did trip him up, honestly, because he got in his head once again, and it did affect him and Witt's performance, because going into round two, he and Witt had a big lead after the Witching Power had a stumbling Kurt Russell movies. But then when they got directors, it was kind of like they couldn't decide if they wanted to stay with it or not. I mean, Zipper felt confident in directors, but then Witt at the other end, he was just kind of unsure. I felt if they had spun again, they could have gotten a category that would have been more suitable for them.
Yeah. That round two was very interesting. The Witching Power struggled there with Kurt Russell. So the boys there, the Misfits, got 4 points just on steals. Just on steals in that round.
They could have had a real good, like they were literally, like if they had gotten like 4 of their questions right, not going to multiple choice, that would have been knockout territory.
Yeah, because and so like you said, they got directors. So they got 4 of the 6. They checked down 4 times. They got 2 of them. So at the end of round 2, they're up 24-17. It's a 7-point lead.
Mm-hmm.
There's one person we know that 6 and 7 point leads don't matter, Ben Bateman. But that's going up against the GOAT, so that's different. But in this match, it isn't. The Misfits lose the match because Perry and Haley go 3 for 3 in round 3.
Yep.
They get their 2, their 3, and their 5, and they didn't even blink. Like they knew all 3 like that.
Yeah.
Like they.
It took a beat. Like every time their questions came up, Perry, beat, got it. Haley, a beat, got it. And then their 5-pointer, they didn't even have to waste time breaking it down. It was just more, I think it's that. Yeah, I think that's that too. Then boom, 5-pointer. Then when you see that shows the team chemistry, how that Cody made a smart choice with Haley and Perry.
What else was his options? He couldn't do Shazam because they were in they were in the team championship. I mean, it would have been nice to see like Tim Franco with someone, but like you said, every time they have to say their name, I have to stop a second because I always want to say the name of their podcast that they had.
Yeah.
So
the team power.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I feel like Adam Witt choked in round 3 with that 2-pointer. Like, he said he knew it. He just couldn't get, like, when you have a 7-point lead going into round 3 and you lose, you got to say that's a choke, right?
I don't know if it's much more of a choke because Adam Witt was even stumbling in the second round as well. So I think it was just more of the situation to where his brain was just failing him. Like he was in a rut and he tried to get back up. I mean, I don't want to be negative to Zipper, but Zipper, I think he could have. I think it's more of a situation to where Zipper was trying to bring Adam Witt back, but unfortunately focusing so much on his team, he lost sight of the answer. And it just kind of to where it failed both of them, especially in their 5-pointer.
Yeah. Like I thought they had them, like they're up by 7. They got this. Nope.
I thought that too. I mean, I was all in for Haley and Perry. I felt they could have really made a great come. Oh wow, bro, damn.
That's true.
Yeah,
he hasn't.
He's been very, just like Whitney Seipel, he's been very unlucky here, and he is a very knowledgeable guy. I mean, his Star Wars match against Sullivan, that deep cut 5-pointer. Even in his matches with Preston, when it was the movie guys, Witt held his own as a team player. So it's just been very unlucky for him this season. But he's just a great personality. I can't imagine him not being a part of the Schmoedown next season, either as a coach, as a team player, or once again getting a Star Wars match.
Yeah. I think someone will pick him up just for being in Star Wars there.
I would love to see a reuniting of the movie guys, honestly.
I would too. Paul Preston has not had a good year either, though.
Yeah, both him and Paul have been very unlucky. I really loved it. I think that's the beauty part of it. That I mean, of course, with this year literally sucked to where everyone just had to adjust.
Yeah.
But I think now that the Schmoedown has finally been able to adjust to this new digital format, even if we do go back to studio, I think we can still see a mixture of both to where everyone can get a shot to play. Even if you live near California or not.
Yeah, I think we'll have the top tier matches will kind of be in studio. Now they can have competitors that don't live in Southern California. They can still have them compete with these digital matches. I know that they will prefer that they be in studio, but if they can't, they can't. What's up, my man Shug? Thanks for stopping by.
Hey, Shug.
But yeah, no, I definitely see them doing both next season. The only way I don't is if Christian really just wants to focus on just doing straight studio matches, and he doesn't have the crew to do both. That's the only way I see them not doing digital and studio.
And I completely understand that. He does not want that much more stress or that much more on him. I mean, as much as Mark is there for the co-hosting duties, Mark did pretty much he did put out that statement during season 6 that he is going to be stepping away from most of the responsibilities. So it's the majority has been on Christian's shoulders.
Wait, when did he say that? I don't remember.
Well, no, it was during season 6. He was doing more touring with his stand-up comedy.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, he did come back in. But even then with SEN,
really, you're going to be using your bottom?
Okay, that's something you and Suge obviously know.
No, that was him not being able to type. He meant to put both. He meant to put both. So, but no, it's gonna be to be honest, my thought, because Christian was always the one talking about announcements. I always thought it was Christian's baby, and Mark was kind of there for assistance. I think when they first started, it was pretty equal on who did what. But I think since season 5, I really feel like it's been all Christian. Yeah. But again, this is just me speculating because I'm not in the know. So again, I could be wrong on that. But I think, there it is. I think Ellis wants to focus on his stand-up, which is completely fine because the stand-up is hilarious. It's so funny.
Have either of you guys been to one of his live shows?
Yes, he had one here in Phoenix last summer, 2019.
I know when I know when they were live in San Diego, Mark did a mini setup at one of the regular comedy stand-up shows here in Diego, along with Knapsack and Makuga.
Yeah, that's the one. So they had one out here in a comedy club. It was him, Josh, and Ken. It was really I was like, wow, I want to see Ellis do more stand-up because his stand-up was on point. It was great. Any parting thoughts for today, fellas?
Well, all I'm gonna say is with Zipper, never, and I mean never, sleep on this guy. I think one of my favorite parting words was a few buddies of mine had Kaiser on one of their after shows, and when they were talking about Kaiser and Zip's relationship, Kaiser talked about the first time he met Zip at the free for all, and when Zip came down the free for all, eating a literal cake. Just annoying everybody in there. He thought it was hilarious how Zip was he just decided to do something and was just gonna do it. He's like, I'm just gonna take this cake over and I'm gonna eat it. Like, you sure? Yeah, and he did that.
You sure about that? Like,
it's just like one of those funny things. So that's the reason why I was promoting this. I'm like, this guy literally took the phrase, you can have your cake and eat it too. So I think
he's a great guy. He's a great guy.
That's why I think Zip one day, sooner or later, it's going to happen. Zip is going to have that moment where he's going to bring that back. He's going to have that cake. He's going to eat it too. It's there. Zip is just like, he's right there on that cusp. He did improve a lot more. He did improve a lot from each season. Despite his record, his playability, though, the knowledge is getting there. It's just now that he's improving, it's just some of the basic knowledge. It's unfortunate. It's a give and take. It's a 50-50. It's a what is it? Catch-22. It's a catch-22. The more you learn, unfortunately, a lot of stuff you're going to be forgetting, or some stuff is going to be pushed to the back burn. And if Zipper wants to continue playing in all 3 divisions, I think he's going to need to find that balance. Kind of like, even if it's not always 100% success, he's going to need to find a balance or somewhere to where he can still be a top IG player, but also still sharpen himself, because he has proven he's a great teams player. It's just like he needs to find that balance, find that right partner to really bounce those ideas, bounce the questions off of, to where he can get to the answers much faster.
Yeah. No, it has a good moment, Brian. It has a good moment. It's not a top match for me.
I don't know. I think that's still
okay. So at the time when it aired, yes, but since then there's been at least 5 or 6 other matches that I would say are. Oh, I misread this. Sorry, Brian. It said his favorite matches. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I just thought, yeah, like it has one of the best pulls and great, just insane moments by Stacy when she says Anthony Hopkins, like straight guess. And then I think my favorite quote of all time there from Zipper: "I know what I know. She knows what she doesn't know." Like yes. I think that's one of my that has got to be the best Zipper quote of all time. Like, because it's true. Like she's done it several times, or she makes it seem like she doesn't know it.
I mean, she even did it. So she even pulled it off in her match against Drake, who even mimicked some of that Stacey Howard ability.
Yeah. So just be on the lookout for Zipper next season. I think Zipper is gonna surprise us.
It can be his season next year, definitely. It could be season Zipper.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if he stays with the dungeon or who he's able to be teamed up, because he's been with World's Finest.
Yes.
Loose Cannons.
Mm-hmm. Crazy 80 Greats that one time.
And then the Misfits. That's 4 teams. He's been on 4 teams. Is it going to add to that, or is he going to – I want to see more of him and Oyama. I thought that was a great pairing.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So that it all leads up to either he'll be kept, he'll be drafted, or he'll be traded. Personally, but then at the same time, Paul and Lon have shown some good chemistry as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, damn, but I love the delinquent there with Paul. So it's like, but we'll see.
Maybe they can do it. Maybe in wrestling, there's like this rule called the Freebird rule, to where if you have like a team consists of 3 players, they can interchange amongst themselves in matches. Maybe if Winston gets Zipper, we can see something like that, to where it's Paul, Lon, and Zipper together as a team, and Christian's like, you know what? And they can continue this whole thing. If Lon's going to show, it's like, you know, if Lon didn't show, then Zipper can join in. Okay, I don't care.
I like that quite a bit.
Yeah, it's just kind of, I'm kind of bummed we don't get any more Zipper this year, but it's just the way this season has been. There's a lot of competitors that their season ended extremely early. So it's going to be interesting there. We do have a show next week. It will be on a different day and a different channel. I'll just tease it that way. Yeah. Just keep an eye out on our social media. We are now on Spotify. So if you have Spotify, so far the first 2 episodes are up. I'm slowly getting the rest up there. I'll try and get those done maybe here by this weekend. We also have a Facebook group. I posted the link in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Facebook group. So if you go down a little bit, you'll find it. Or you can I think if you just search Mount Schmoedown under
groups, I think you either in the search bar, or if you go to groups and search for us, we will definitely pop up.
So it's going to be a very fun next episode. I'm extremely excited there. Also, I just love talking Schmoedown.
Yeah, me too.
Zipper definitely caught me by surprise as I was breaking this down. I'm like, Zipper's actually a really good competitor. So
yeah, he's much better. Yeah, and look, to verify what Brandon said, guys, here it is, Spotify. There we are.
So yeah. I know sometimes some people just don't have it in their schedule to watch live or watch on replay. It's audio form. It's that easy. That way you can still kind of hear our thoughts on things. Make sure to give us all a follow there on our Twitters there at the top. Our Twitter is also for the show is also in the description box below. That's actually YouTube. So
I'm sorry.
It's the same thing though. No, it's the same thing. Just take out YouTube and put twitter.com/ that's still the same thing. They'll still pull up. So and we will see you guys next week. Bye.